Commander Jimin Park wiped sweat from his forehead as he watched the mining equipment work outside New Seoul Station. The massive machines pulled rare metals from the asteroid field, their lights blinking in the darkness of space. It was quiet work, boring work, but it paid well. The miners had families back on Earth who needed the money. "Another peaceful day," said Communications Officer Hannah Kim as she checked her screens. The young woman had joined the mining crew just 6 months ago. She liked the quiet life far from Earth's busy cities. Jimin nodded and sipped his coffee. The mining station was small but comfortable. 50 people lived and worked here, processing minerals that would become starship parts back home. They had families, friends, dreams of better lives. Nobody expected trouble this far from the main shipping routes. The alarm started screaming at exactly 0800 station time. "Sir, unknown ships coming out of hyperspace," Hannah said, her voice suddenly tight with fear. "Big ones. Really big ones." Jimin dropped his coffee cup and ran to the main display. 5 massive ships appeared on the screen, each one larger than any human vessel he had ever seen. They were dark and angular, covered in strange symbols that hurt to look at. The ships moved with purpose, forming an attack formation around the mining station. "Try to contact them," Jimin ordered. "Standard first contact protocols." Hannah's fingers flew over her controls. "This is New Seoul Mining Station calling unknown vessels. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. We mean no harm." Silence. The alien ships continued their approach. "Try again," Jimin said. "All frequencies. Unknown vessels, this is a civilian mining operation. We have no weapons. Please respond." Still nothing. The ships were close enough now that Jimin could see details on their hulls. Gun ports. Lots of them. These were warships, built for one purpose only. "All hands to emergency stations," Jimin announced over the station speakers. "This is not a drill. Prepare for possible evacuation." The miners stopped their work and looked up at the ships with confusion and growing fear. Many had never seen military vessels before. They had children sleeping in the station's family quarters, elderly grandparents who had come to help with the cooking and cleaning. Captain Do-Yoon Lee's voice crackled over the radio from his patrol ship Busan. "Jimin, what's your status?" "My sensors are showing massive energy signatures. 5 unknown warships, Captain. They won't respond to our signals. I'm moving to intercept. Get your people ready to evacuate." Jimin watched the small patrol ship position itself between the station and the alien fleet. The Busan was fast and well armed for its size, but it looked like a toy next to the alien vessels. The first energy beam came without warning. A brilliant green lance of light struck the station's outer hull, tearing through metal like paper. The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in with a dull red glow. "Hull breach in Section 7, reported Engineer Kyung-soo. Sealing blast doors." More beams followed. The aliens were not trying to destroy the station quickly. They were taking their time, cutting it apart piece by piece. Like a cat playing with a mouse. "Why aren't they just finishing us?" asked Hannah. Jimin understood with growing horror. "They want prisoners. They want us alive." The Busan opened fire, its missiles streaking toward the lead alien ship. The weapons struck energy shields and exploded harmlessly. Captain Do-Yoon's voice came over the radio one last time. "Unknown hostiles attacking Sector 7. They're not here to talk. Tell Earth we tried." The alien ships focused their fire on the patrol vessel. The Busan lasted 17 seconds before its reactor overloaded in a flash of white light. "Captain Lee." Hannah screamed. "He's gone," Jimin said quietly. "Get to the escape pods. Now." The station shook again as more energy beams struck home. The aliens were carving up the mining equipment, the living quarters, the command center. But they were careful not to hit the areas where people were hiding. Some of the miners made it to escape pods. Others were not so lucky. The aliens used some kind of stun weapon that dropped people where they stood. Jimin watched through security cameras as strange beings in armor walked through the damaged sections, collecting unconscious humans like packages. The aliens were tall and thin, with 4 arms and faces hidden behind masks. They moved with confidence, like soldiers who had done this many times before. "Sir, I'm getting transmissions from other stations," Hannah reported. "Sector 9 is under attack. So is the agricultural station at Jeju. More stations. More families." The aliens were not just raiding one target. This was a coordinated assault. Dr. Minji Choi, the station's science officer, was dragged past the command center window. The young woman was unconscious, blood on her forehead where she had been struck. Jimin had known her since academy training. She had a husband and 2 children back on Earth. We have to help her, Hannah said. We can't help anyone if we're captured too. Jimin activated the station's final protocol. A message beacon launched toward Earth, carrying data about the attack in the alien ships. The command center door exploded inward. 2 aliens stepped through the smoke, their weapons pointed at the remaining humans. Up close, Jimin could see their eyes through the mask slits. Cold. Intelligent. Completely without mercy. One alien spoke in broken human language, its voice like grinding metal. You surrender now. Come with us. No more die if you obey. Jimin looked at Hannah's frightened face, at the other crew members raising their hands in defeat. This was how it ended. Not with a brave last stand, but with exhausted people giving up to save whatever lives they could. As the aliens led them toward their ships, Jimin saw the message beacon disappearing into hyperspace. Earth would know what happened here. Earth would know that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. And maybe, just maybe, Earth would be ready for what came next. President Tae-hyung-yoon sat in the emergency bunker deep beneath Seoul, staring at the reports flooding in from across human space. 12 mining stations destroyed. 3 agricultural colonies captured. Over 2,000 civilians taken prisoner. The images on his screen showed the aftermath of the alien attacks: twisted metal, burning buildings, families torn apart. Mr. President, we have confirmation, said Defense Minister Seo Nam, his face pale. The aliens are broadcasting from their ships. They want to negotiate. Tae-hyung nodded grimly. Put it through. The main screen flickered to show a tall, thin alien creature standing in what looked like a command center. Its 4 arms moved as it spoke in broken human language, primitive humans of Earth. I am Supremach Vextar of the Zelati hegemony. Your people are now our property. Your leaders will come to us immediately and surrender your worlds. If you refuse, all prisoners die slowly. You have 1 day to decide. The transmission ended. The bunker fell silent. 1 day. Seo-jun laughed bitterly. These bastards think they can threaten us and we'll just roll over. What's our military status? Tae-hyung asked. Officially? We have the Earth Defense Fleet, colonial patrol ships, and maybe 300 combat vessels total. The aliens have at least 1,000 ships, all bigger and more advanced than ours. Tae-hyung stood up slowly. And unofficially? Seo-jun smiled for the first time since the attacks began. Mr. President, it's time to activate Protocol 7. Across human space, hidden transmitters began sending coded messages. On Luna, CEO Jeon Choi received the signal in her corporate office. She had been waiting for this day for 20 years. Her mining company was officially just a business. Unofficially, her cargo ships carried enough firepower to flatten a city. Attention all Kim Industries vessels, she announced over the secure channel. Ghost Protocol is now active. Reveal your true nature. Captain Hyun-woo Kang was hauling construction supplies to Titan when the message came through. He smiled as his crew began activating hidden systems. The cargo ship's outer hull split open, revealing heavy armor and weapon ports. In 60 seconds, the humble freighter became a missile destroyer. Finally, said his gunner, Corporal Min-soo Park. I was getting tired of pretending to be a cargo hauler. On the agricultural world of Gangnam, Colonial Administrator Sungjin Kim was reading to his daughter when the emergency alert came through. The little girl looked confused as her father kissed her goodbye and put on his military uniform. Daddy, where are you going? To work, sweetheart. Uncle Jinwoo will take care of you. What the aliens didn't know was that every human colony had been preparing for this day. The peaceful farmers were actually retired soldiers. The mining equipment could be converted into weapons in hours. The civilian ships carried military-grade shields and engines. Admiral Soo-young Park stood in the command center of Earth's primary military base, watching as the true size of humanity's military revealed itself. The official count of 300 warships suddenly became 3,000 as corporate fleets, colonial defense forces, and civilian vessels shed their disguises. We're getting reports from every sector, said Commander Jimin Park, recently rescued from the alien attack on New Seoul. The Kim Industries fleet has 200 combat vessels. Park Mining Consortium has another 150. Even the religious colonies have armed ships. And the prisoners? We're tracking them. Dr. Minji Choi managed to get a message out before they captured her. She's on the alien flagship with the other survivors. Soo-young nodded. Dr. Choi was brilliant and resourceful. If anyone could survive alien captivity and provide intelligence, it was her. The aliens made their first mistake 12 hours later. They began broadcasting torture sessions, expecting to break human morale. The galaxy watched in horror as Zalati interrogators questioned human prisoners, using pain to extract information about Earth's defenses. Dr. Minji Choi's screams echoed across news networks as alien claws dug into her arms. The young scientist refused to talk, even when they showed her images of her husband and children back on Earth. "Tell us about your military bases," the alien interrogator hissed. "Tell us and the pain stops." "Go to hell," Minji gasped. The torture continued. But instead of breaking human resolve, something unexpected happened. Across human space, families gathered around screens not in despair, but in rage. The aliens had made the same mistake that every dictator in human history eventually made. They thought fear would make people surrender. Instead, fear made humans angry. President Taehyung stood before the United Earth Council and delivered humanity's response. "The Zalati hegemony has 72 hours to return our people and withdraw from human space. This is not a negotiation. This is not a request. This is what will happen." Supremaj Vextar watched the human broadcast from his flagship, his mandibles clicking in laughter. 72 hours? These hairless apes threaten us? Do they not understand that we have conquered 4 to 7 species? Do they not see their people suffering? His tactical officer shifted nervously. "Supreme Commander, our scouts report unusual activity throughout human space. Ship movements, energy signatures. Probably refugees fleeing," Vextar dismissed. "Fear makes all species run. Soon their leaders will come begging for mercy." But in the prison cells of the Zalati flagship, Dr. Minji Choi smiled through her pain. She had seen something in her captor's eyes that gave her hope. For all their advanced technology and military power, the aliens had never faced an enemy like humanity. They had conquered 4 to 7 species by inspiring fear and despair. But humans were different. Humans got stronger when they were afraid. They fought harder when they were hurt. And they never, ever forgot when someone hurt their family. The countdown had begun. 72 hours to learn why every predator in human history had eventually learned the same lesson. Some prey fights back. Supremaj Vextar stood in his command center, watching the tactical display with growing confusion. The human deadline was approaching, but instead of surrender negotiations, his sensors were detecting massive energy signatures throughout human space. Tactical Officer Krelven, explain these readings, he ordered, his forearms gesturing at the swirling patterns on the screen. "Supreme Commander, we are detecting unusual activity. What appeared to be mining stations are now showing military-grade energy outputs. Civilian cargo ships are revealing weapon signatures." Vextar's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "Impossible. Our intelligence scouts observed these humans for months. They are primitive. Their military is small and weak." But the evidence kept growing. On the outer rim, what had looked like a simple asteroid mining operation suddenly sprouted missile launchers and shield generators. The asteroid itself began moving, revealing massive engines hidden beneath the rocky surface. Captain Minyako smiled as his stealth destroyer Soul's Vengeance dropped its cloaking field. For 3 years, his ship had pretended to be a research vessel studying space phenomena. The aliens had scanned them dozens of times and seen exactly what they wanted to see, a harmless science ship. "All weapons online, Captain," reported his tactical officer. "Target the alien patrol ships first." "Negative. We wait for the signal. Let them think they still have the advantage." On Earth, CEO Jeon Choi stood in her corporate headquarters, watching as her mining fleet transformed. Hidden armor plates slid into position. Cargo bays opened to reveal fighter squadrons. The massive industrial ships that moved asteroids around the solar system suddenly looked very different with their weapons exposed. "How many ships do we actually have?" asked her assistant, staring at the display in amazement. "Officially? 12 cargo haulers and a few security escorts," Jeon replied. "Actually? 230 combat vessels, including 15 heavy cruisers." The transformation was happening everywhere. On Mars, underground factories that supposedly made farming equipment revealed their true purpose, manufacturing military hardware. The civilian shipyards at Jupiter's moons had been building warships disguised as cargo vessels for decades. Aboard the Zalati flagship, Dr. Minji Choi lay in her cell, pretending to be unconscious. The torture sessions had been brutal, but they had also given her opportunities to observe her captors. The aliens were powerful, but they had weaknesses. She had managed to activate a hidden transmitter sewn into her uniform, sending brief messages to human forces. The aliens never bothered to search thoroughly, they were too confident in their superiority. Guard shift change in 10 minutes, she whispered into the transmitter. Ship's internal defenses focus on space combat. Boarding tubes are lightly protected. They're not used to enemies who fight up close. The message reached Commander Jungwoo Lee of the Marine Corps as he prepared his assault teams. The big man grinned as he checked his combat gear. So these aliens don't like face-to-face fighting? Good to know. His Marines were specialists in ship-to-ship boarding actions. They had trained for years in the cramped corridors and zero-gravity environments of spacecraft. If the aliens were vulnerable to close combat, the Marines would exploit that weakness. The first real shock came when the aliens tried to raid a defenseless agricultural colony. The planet Incheon looked peaceful from orbit: farms, small towns, families going about their daily lives. The Zelati sent down troop transports expecting easy prey. Colonial Administrator Sungjin Kim watched the alien ships descend toward his town's main square. The farmers and shopkeepers around him seemed calm, almost relaxed. That should have been the aliens' first warning. Positions, everyone, Sungjin said quietly into his communicator. The farmers reached into their barns and pulled out military weapons. The shopkeepers activated hidden defense systems. Even the elderly grandmother running the local bakery turned out to be a retired sniper with over 100 confirmed kills. The alien troops landed expecting to face helpless civilians. Instead, they walked into a carefully planned ambush executed by people who had been soldiers long before they became farmers. "What is this?" screamed the alien commander as his forces came under withering fire from every building. Intelligence said this was a civilian population. Intelligence was wrong, Grandmother Park replied cheerfully, putting another alien in her crosshairs. "We're all civilians now. But we used to be other things." The aliens retreated in disorder, leaving half their force dead in the town square. Similar scenes played out across human space. The helpless colonies turned out to be military bases in disguise. The primitive humans had technology that was different from alien designs, but definitely not inferior. On the bridge of his flagship, Vextar watched the battle reports with growing alarm. "How many ships do these humans actually have?" "Unknown, Supreme Commander. Our count was 300 vessels. Current contacts suggest over 3,000, possibly more." 3,000. Vextar's voice rose to a shriek. How did our scouts miss an entire fleet? The truth was becoming clear. The humans had let the aliens see exactly what they wanted them to see. Every peaceful colony was a fortress. Every civilian ship was a disguised warship. The entire human species had been preparing for this war while pretending to be harmless. Dr. Minji Choi smiled in her cell as she felt the alien flagship shudder from distant weapons fire. The human counterattack had begun. She had done her part by providing intelligence. Now it was time for her people to do what humans did best. The aliens had expected another easy conquest, like the 47 species they had crushed before. Instead, they had attacked a race that had spent thousands of years fighting itself, perfecting the art of war. And now humanity had a common enemy. The galaxy was about to learn that the most dangerous thing in the universe was not an apex predator or an advanced alien species. The most dangerous thing was a species that looked peaceful right up until the moment you threatened their families. The Zelati had made that mistake. They would not get a chance to make another one. The Battle of Titan began at 0600 ship time when Admiral Seyoung Park's fleet dropped out of hyperspace. 50 human warships faced the main Zelati battle group, over 200 alien vessels arranged in perfect formation around Saturn's largest moon. "Admiral, they outnumber us 4-1, reported her tactical officer. "Recommend we wait for reinforcements." "Negative," Seyoung replied, studying the enemy formation. "We're not here to win a fair fight. Signal all ships, execute Plan Delta." Plan Delta was not a conventional battle strategy. It was something the aliens had never encountered in their conquest of 47 species. It was something only humans would think of. Captain Jinwoo Park received the signal aboard his damaged destroyer Daegu. His ship had taken heavy fire protecting a refugee convoy, and his engines were failing. In any normal military, he would retreat for repairs. But Captain Park was not thinking like a normal military officer. "All hands, this is the captain," he announced over the ship's speakers. "We have one chance to make a difference. Strap in tight. We're going to ram their flagship." His crew did not hesitate. They had seen the torture broadcasts. They had watched Dr. Minji Choi scream under alien claws. Every person on the ship volunteered to die if it meant hurting the enemy. Supremach Vextar watched the human destroyer accelerate toward his flagship with confusion. Are they surrendering? Why are they approaching so fast? Supreme Commander, they are not slowing down, his tactical officer reported with growing alarm. Collision course confirmed. Destroy them. Energy beams lanced out, tearing chunks from the Degu's hull. But the human ship kept coming, its crew manning their stations even as sections of the ship exploded around them. Captain Jinwoo Park's final transmission echoed across both fleets, for Dr. Choi and the 2000. The Degu struck the Zelati flagship's command section at maximum velocity. The impact tore through 3 decks before the destroyer's reactor overloaded, creating a massive explosion that crippled the alien command ship. Vextar dragged himself from the wreckage, his body broken but his mind reeling. In all his campaigns, no enemy had ever deliberately destroyed themselves just to hurt him. It was madness. It was impossible. It was terrifying. But it was only the beginning. Sir, more human ships are accelerating toward our formation, reported a surviving bridge officer. Captain Hyunwoo Kang guided his converted cargo hauler toward an alien cruiser, his ship already taking heavy fire. Engineering, can you give me more speed? Captain, the engines are already at maximum. We're falling apart. Then let's fall apart on their bridge, Hyunwoo replied calmly. All hands, prepare for impact. The human ships were not just ramming randomly. Each suicide attack was carefully planned to cause maximum damage to the alien fleet. The humans studied their targets, aimed for critical systems, and died with smiles on their faces knowing they had hurt the enemy. The aliens began to panic. This was not how war was supposed to work. Species were supposed to surrender when they were outnumbered. They were supposed to value their own lives above victory. They were not supposed to celebrate death if it brought their enemies pain. These humans are insane, reported Commander Thelrak from the alien fleet's left wing. They fight harder when they are losing. They sing as they die. But the suicide attacks were only the first wave. As the alien formation fell into chaos, the main human fleet struck from unexpected directions. Ships that had been hiding in Saturn's rings emerged with weapons blazing. Vessels that looked dead suddenly roared to life and opened fire at point-blank range. Colonel Sungjin Kim led the first successful boarding action when his transport rammed through the hull of a Zelati cruiser. His Marines fought through the alien corridors with a brutality that shocked even hardened enemy warriors. Surrender and we will show mercy, the alien captain gasped as human soldiers surrounded his bridge. Colonel Kim looked at the alien commander with cold eyes. Did you show mercy to our civilians? Did you show mercy to Dr. Choi? The Marines did not show mercy. Word of the human fighting style spread through the alien fleet like wildfire. These were not the civilized wars the Zelati were used to, with formal surrenders and prisoner exchanges. This was something primal and terrifying, the violence of a species that had been killing its own kind for thousands of years. The corporate fleets arrived next, led by CEO Jihyo Park's industrial vessels. Her massive mining ships, converted into assault platforms, surrounded the remaining Zelati forces. The aliens found themselves trapped between human fleets that seemed to appear from nowhere. Attention alien forces, Jihyo broadcast on all frequencies. You took our people. You hurt our families. Now we take everything from you. The human ships began systematically destroying every alien vessel, showing no interest in surrender or negotiation. They disabled engines first, trapping the aliens, then took apart their ships piece by piece. The humans wanted the aliens to suffer, to understand the fear and pain they had inflicted on human prisoners. Dr. Minji Choi felt the alien flagship shudder as human Marines fought their way toward the prison levels. Through her cell's small window, she could see human ships everywhere, hunting down the remaining alien vessels like wolves chasing wounded prey. The cell door exploded inward. A human Marine in full combat armor stepped through the smoke, his weapon ready. When he saw her, he lowered his gun and smiled. Dr. Choi? Colonel Kim sent us to get you out. The other prisoners? All of them? Every human we can find. As the Marines led her toward the escape pods, Minji saw alien crew members cowering in the corridors. These proud conquerors, who had crushed 4 to 7 species, were terrified of humans. They had expected another easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something that should have been left alone. The Battle of Titan ended with the complete destruction of the alien fleet. No Zelati ships escaped. No quarter was given. The galaxy watched in horror as humanity demonstrated that peaceful people, when pushed too far, became the most dangerous predators of all. 6 months after the Battle of Titan, Admiral Seyoung Park stood on the bridge of her flagship New Earth, watching the last Zelati military base surrender. The fortress hung in space like a broken toy, its weapons silent, its shields down. Admiral, they're requesting terms, reported Communications Officer Hannah Kim, who had survived the original attack on New Seoul Station. No terms, Seung replied quietly. Complete surrender or we turn their base into scrap metal. The alien commander's voice came through the speakers, speaking broken human language. We surrender. Please, no more killing. We give up everything. But humanity was not finished. The war had changed them in ways that frightened other species watching from across the galaxy. Dr. Minji Choi, now recovered and serving as an intelligence specialist, had compiled a list of every Zelati officer involved in the torture of human prisoners. The list was very long. We have confirmation, Dr. Choi reported. Supremaj Vextar is hiding on the border world of Krell 9, living in a refugee camp with survivors from his fleet. Captain Hyun Woo Kang, who had survived his ramming attack through luck and good armor, smiled grimly. Permission to lead the hunter team, Admiral. Granted. Bring him back alive. The families of the prisoners deserve to see justice. The hunt for Zelati war criminals became a human obsession. Special teams tracked down alien officers across the galaxy, following leads through dozens of star systems. They found Vextar living in a cave, eating scraps and wearing rags. The proud conqueror who had demanded humanity's surrender was now a broken old creature begging for mercy. Please, I was only following orders, he whimpered as human soldiers dragged him from his hiding place. I did not want to hurt your people. Tell that to Dr. Choi, Captain Kang replied. But the capture of individual war criminals was only part of humanity's response. The aliens had destroyed something precious, the illusion that humans could live peacefully in the galaxy. Now every human colony was armed. Every civilian ship carried weapons. Every child learned to fight. President Tae Hyung-yoon stood before the newly formed Galactic Council, addressing representatives from dozens of species. Many of them looked nervous. The humans had not just defeated the mighty Zelati hegemony, they had completely destroyed it with a viciousness that shocked even hardened alien warriors. Humanity seeks peaceful coexistence with all sentient life, President Yoon said, his voice calm and reasonable. We want trade, cultural exchange, and friendship with our galactic neighbors. The alien representatives relaxed slightly. This sounded like the diplomatic language they were used to. However, the president continued, certain actions will trigger immediate and total response. Any species that attacks human civilians, takes human prisoners for torture, or threatens human colonies will face the complete military might of our species. There will be no negotiations. There will be no mercy. There will be complete destruction. The council chamber fell silent. The humans looked so normal, so peaceful in their simple clothing and quiet manner. But everyone had seen the recordings of human ships ramming alien vessels while their crews sang battle songs. Everyone had heard about the human marines who fought through alien corridors with a brutality that made their own predators look tame. The Centauri Coalition, an alliance of peaceful trading species, quickly updated their diplomatic database. The entry for humanity now included a warning that spread throughout the galaxy. Species, human. Classification, peaceful until provoked. Threat level, maximum when threatened. Note, humans appear reasonable and diplomatic under normal circumstances. They prefer negotiation and trade. Do not mistake this preference for weakness. When their families are threatened, humans become the most dangerous predators in known space. See attached historical files from the Zelati conflict. Other species began sending nervous diplomatic messages to Earth. The spider-like arachnids, who had been planning raids on human shipping lanes, suddenly discovered urgent business in distant sectors. The warlike Korgans, famous for their conquests, found excuses to avoid human space entirely. Captain Minyak-O patrolled the outer rim in his destroyer Soul's Vengeance, broadcasting a simple message on all frequencies: this is human space. We prefer diplomacy. We are prepared for war. Choose wisely. The message was not a threat, it was a statement of fact. Humanity had learned that the galaxy was a dangerous place.